Okay, so as usual, I didn't want to make a video, but here we are. I am replacing the motor mounts, engine mounts on my 17 L5p. As you see, I got PP manifolds and the mount sitting right there. This is it. So I was going to show you the bolts that hold the mount in position, in place right there. There's two 15mm bolts right there. There's also bolts in somewhat dangerous place. That would be, I took one out right there, as you see, and I'm working on the other one at the bottom. Why place is dangerous because there's battery cables coming right next to it, to the starter. So oh shit, I lose that range. Come on. Okay, so there's a long ratchet with the 15 on it. Flex head helps a little bit, but what I'm doing right now is I'm going to loosen the bolts to the block. And then I'm going to loosen the bolts that come to the bottom of the engine mount. So from my experience with the LBZ engine, the bolts at the bottom going to have a red Loctite to it. Actually, here is the new engine mount. I'll show you the way it goes. So I'm working on these bolts right now. As you see, bam, 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 bam. And this here would be bolts for the bottom of the bracket that actually bolts up to the frame. So yeah, so these bolts, as far from what I can see, these bolts to the block are super easy to remove. Everything's accessible. On this side, you will have the starter with a bunch of cables coming to it. Ideally, you'd want to disconnect the battery. And then this bolt's going to be here, which is going to be probably 15s. I can feel for them. I cannot see those yet. But the idea is, once I get all this out of the way, hopefully I'll be able to work this motor engine mount out past the frame and the exhaust manifold and just a bunch of shit in the way, but I think I can get it. Maybe if I can get this wire, which is, I think it's actually a starter cable, and this ABS wire disconnected and kind of moved out of the way, maybe I can work it out. So I'll keep you posted again. I'm taking the bolts off the block, them 15s right there. I'm taking them bolts off for now, them two, and the two on the other side. Okay, so as anticipated, these bolts come out much harder. The bolts on top of the engine mount, this bolt right here, this bolt right there, there's one more in the back. Haven't even looked at it yet, but I know it's gonna be right here. Try to show you. So these three bolts, so as I mentioned before, I got this cable that goes on top, the wiring harness, unsnapped, unhooked completely. I also got this battery cable out the way, just dangling. ABS sensor is here. I'm gonna disconnect it probably later to give me some room to work this mount out. So what I'm at right now is these three bolts at the bottom. They're super tight. I mean, if I use maybe 1/2 inch ratchet's gonna be probably better, but this is, I just don't want to round off these edges on the bolts. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. As long as I loosen those three, I'm gonna jump back on these two remaining bolts right there, 1, 2 at the bottom, and this should be loose. Then I'm gonna get to actually jacking the engine up and working the engine mount out. So, as I expected, no focus. These are the bolts that have red Loctite on them. These are the bolts that go right here, and right here, and obviously right there. So, what we got going on right now is I got this loose, I got the other side loose. What I do usually is I turn it maybe 3 or 4 full turns, then spray some coil, then tighten it a couple turns, and then I undo it again, you know, and spray another, I guess, dab of coil, and it comes out okay. But there is a chance you're gonna break this bolt on the older trucks. I know LBZs are bad about breaking bolts. Never broke this bolt. I think you're gonna be fine on the L5p, but I've seen this broken on the older Duramaxes. So anyway, so we're gonna jump on this bolt because it's pretty open right now. It's gonna be next. So I got 2 bolts out. I'm gonna try to show you best I can. I mean, it's pretty tight. It's not bad, but definitely tight. You see one, you see 2 right there and 1 right there, and 2 bolts. What I end up using is I'm using a stack of 1/2-inch extensions and this big boy right here. And what works for me is, like I said, unscrew it maybe 3-4 turns, spray some coil, tighten at the turn, and then repeat it a few times every maybe 10 turns, and it'll otherwise you're chancing that the Loctite is going to gum up the threads and you can break the bolt. I don't think it's going to happen, but it can happen. So the ideal way to go about this, if you want to save the bolts and the headache from removing the lower bracket, is actually undo it counterclockwise, spray some coil, tighten it at a few turns, then back and forth, and I think you're gonna do well. So I'm on the last bolt, so and then getting the engine jacked up and getting the all right, look, I got it in one hand. So I would rather control with 2 hands. So what I'm gonna do now is obviously let you go, and I'm gonna make a few turns and then spray some coil and tighten it, as I mentioned 15 times before. Okay, so I'm sure everybody been in a situation where they would just regret messing with something. I am at that point right now. So what I've done is there is a block heater that I'm actually passing right by it right now. You'll see right there is a block heater. I had it unplugged. There's a metal plate with 2 tabs. You bend those tabs out, comes off. Sorry I didn't show this. It's pretty easy. So now with the engine maxed out, I had it sitting up right here on the block, right by the the bell housing. So anyway, I got the engine maxed out carefully. Just make sure you're not stretching any wiring, and the fan is not touching. Actually, the fan is not touching. It's far ways from the radiator, and from the top of the shroud still spins freely. So anyway, so now I am moving, just literally turning and twisting this engine mount. I'm trying to turn it so that the back of the engine mount is going to be facing this way. So if I can get it maybe to pass by here. Honestly, the best way would be removing the manifold, which is not a big deal, but I just don't want to mess with it. It's a bunch of bolts, and I really, again, don't want to mess with it. So I might still be able to do it without removing the manifold. So here's the plan: is I'm gonna move this past this block heater deal, and maybe I can work this out. I got this wire loose, the cable for the battery. I got the wheel speed sensor just tucked in out of the way. So I'm just gonna keep working and twisting it, and once I figure out the best way to get this out, I will report and show you. Hopefully this helps. All right, y'all, so I've been fighting with this engine mount that, man, I got beat by hand. Okay, so I've been fighting with this engine mount there, and there is, I find, no easy way to get it out. I have to remove this exhaust manifold, which is fairly easy in my case because I'm missing some parts on my truck already. So what we're gonna do is gonna be, I got PPE manifolds. There's gonna be 1, 2, 3 bolts at the end that are gonna be Allen, and there's gonna be a bunch of 13s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right under there is the 13mm bolts. Also, it's gonna be a few. It's gonna be 3 bolts in the back. I don't remember what they are, what size they are. So we got to take this heat shield off. It's gonna be 10. It's gonna be 10, and it's gonna be 10 on top. 3 10mm, which is very easy to remove. So we're gonna get this heat shield off. Gonna get 3 3 bolts out the way, and yes, hopefully the manifold's gonna be out the way. And what else? I will probably end up unplugging this temp sensor that goes all the way up right there, and there's a plug for it right there. I might leave it as is, just get the manifold out the way, we'll see. So that's the easy part. So let me get this bolts already. Like I said, I got it started, as you see. Why I got it started fairly easily is because I used copper anti-seize. Oh shit, I dropped it. Copper anti-seize on those, so that's the good part. So yes, I'm gonna get this loose. So yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, take up your time on this. Just it's a basic nut and that spacer removal. Is it? So I'm gonna keep doing this and get the manifold out of the way. Okay, so I'm on my last cup, trying to show you, but I cannot show you much. So anyway, I'm on my last couple bolts. Okay, so this is loose. Hold on, I need 2 hands. Just don't lose those heat spacers. You gotta have those. All right, and we got last bolt. And ideally, this manifold's gonna fall off. So I got the sensor, the heat sensor, EGT sensor disconnected. I got 3 bolts in the back to the, sorry it's getting late, I'm trying to show you what I'm doing. So 3 bolts at the up pipe disconnected. I got coil everywhere. I soaked it for a couple hours, so should be no problem. So I'm on that last bolt right there, which I'm gonna use my impact and the I'll show you once I'm done with the with that last bolt. So now the manifold, it literally with the last bolt that I undone, it fell off. So I just gotta work it out of there. Again, I'm probably gonna use both hands, maybe not. So it's catching right there. Again, I got one hand. My phone holder is in my car, but I think I can get it. Just make sure nothing is catching. Make sure you're not damaging any wires, you're not pinching anything, you're not breaking anything. But yeah, long story short, this is where we, well, short story long, this is where we at. Just gonna help this side. I'm catching on that bolt right there, suspension bolt. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm gonna need 2 hands. Man, come on, can't be that hard. Anyway, yes, I'm gonna use my other hand, and this should be an easy removal. Now this is the beautiful part. I'm gonna remove this old gasket. Every time we do this job, I suggest replacing these gaskets. It's maybe a 4 or 5 layer gasket, steel gasket. So tomorrow I'm gonna clean the block, the head. We're gonna check for leaks. I don't see any obvious leaks, and we actually are staring at this darn engine mount. So now I'm gonna try to extract this engine mount again. Just work it around, get your engine jacked up, make sure you're not damaging anything. And at this point we should be able to, I'm not gonna say easily because I already got burnt on this, but we should be able to extract the engine mount. Also, don't let it touch the starter, because this is gonna shorten a lot of good stuff and it's gonna create a lot of sparks. So this is a no bueno right there. All right, so let me get the mount out. So I've been waiting for this moment all day. Just getting this sucker out. There she is. Okay, here is the engine mount. So we're gonna assess the condition. Okay, where's my new one? I had a new one. Okay, I got it right there. I'm about to be out of daylight, but okay. So you can see the rubber itself is much thicker, because over time all the torque applications and such, this gets compressed and completely cracked up. Also, as you see, it's all moves up and down. This one moves up and down a little bit as well. So anyway, so you can see the difference. I'm gonna attach a picture, but this is yeah, it's actually, I would say ideally probably a 1/4 inch thicker. So that's definitely gonna help reduce the noise and reduce the engine travel. Otherwise, let me compare everything, make sure all looks good. All the GM stamps on it, it's all identical. So yeah, I think we should be good to go. My goal for the day is clean everything up out there and throw this mount in and bolt it up. That way I can leave the engine off the jack stand. So yeah, so there she is. There you got it. All in all, it's not bad of a job. I can say it's a bad job. If I knew I have to take the manifold off, I would cry a couple times before I, started this job. But all in all, it's not big deal. I've seen much worse. So that's on the passenger side. So we're gonna do the other side sometime later. I'm gonna post a video of this side. Maybe it can help someone at least get the idea of what's going on. So yeah, so my goal for today is install a new mount and let the truck off the jack overnight and finish this job, install the manifold in the morning. But yeah, so this is what you're gonna be looking at. I'm gonna brake clean everything, clean the block, everything got to be pristine clean in the morning. Also, quick tip, when you're removing this mount, do not scratch these exhaust ports because the head is aluminum, so you don't want to tear it up. But that's the easy part, and that's it. All right, let me get to cleaning, and I'm gonna add a couple pictures as I go. Thank you. So I got the area cleaned up. I'm tired. I'm ready to install this new mount. See, my baby's asleep. So I'm gonna go in. As usual, gonna go in one-handed and see. I'm gonna make it fit in there. Say it's not rocket science, super easy stuff. Hope I don't tear nothing up. Make sure everything gets out of the way. Just kind of drop it in there and work it around. So yeah, at this point I'm gonna need both hands because I gotta dive under the engine block side. Also, I want to mention something. Working on just the jack is kind of dangerous because it can squish you're gonna be missing some limbs if anything drops here. So maybe a jack stand or something like that would be a good idea. Anyway, so safety third. I'm gonna just go ahead and get this engine mount in and bolt it up. I did lie to you. This engine mount is not gonna be easy to install back in. So I got it in, but you just gotta drop it and pass that block casting. I'm trying to show you. Hold on. This block casting is gonna be an issue, but you can slide it past, and then you're gonna get stuck on the frame. So what I use, because the mount is about 1/4 inch larger than the old mount, because it's so much taller, so it's fresh rubber. I used my rubber mallet, and I would tap it first where those 3 bolts are on this end to get it slide it past the frame, and then it pretty much just drops in. So you will need, at least I use the mallet. I'm getting ate up by mosquitoes and I'm wore out. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a terrible job, but it's a job. So I would say probably plan full day for something like this, and just pray your studs don't break in the head, which mine were all fresh and all came out good. So I'm gonna bolt up the block to the mount and pretty much call it a day. So the good thing about removing manifold is all these bolts are very accessible. You blow through them, you work much faster than if you had a manifold in your way. So if you want to do it right, do it one time and get the manifold out of the way. At least that's my experience. I don't see no other way to remove this. So right now I'm going to lower the block onto the mount and get the bolts lined up and started. And tomorrow I'm just going to jump on it and clean up the head, all the maintenance surfaces, the back of the manifolds, and install the manifold back on. So yeah, so it's definitely it ain't easy. So yeah, by the way, I also got quoted by the dealership at $1,900 to get this done. That's without mount, without any parts, just the labor cost, which I kind of can justify. If dealership be doing this type of stuff, that'd be a lot of cussing, a lot of that's a big job. So they might have tools or procedures I do not have, which I don't see any way to, you know, get around what I just did. But yeah, it's definitely a job. So it ain't bad, but it's a job. It's a workout. So anyway, so let me get to lowering the block onto the mount and lining up the bolt holes and starting those bolts. All right, well, good morning, everybody. I am back at it, as that's the second day of replacing the engine mount. So what I can sum it up right quick is, if I knew I had to remove the exhaust manifold, I would definitely just jump on it and get it done, get it out of the way. It's not that big of a deal to replace it. Now I try to work around it with the block heater, with the wiring, with the hoses and stuff, so I wasted probably an hour and a half trying to get around it. But anyway, so now that the manifold is out of the way and I got the old mount out and I got the new mount installed, everything is bolted up. I got it just tight. I did not I couldn't find torque values for it. I'm sure they're available somewhere, but it's tight and it's good to go. As far as assembling everything, so I got all the block heaters and everything installed. I got the studs back in the head, so I can actually install the manifold now. The manifold being, where's the manifold? Okay, all the ports being cleaned up with a wire brush, so everything, it is ready for a new gasket. Okay, matter of fact, this is the old mount. I just want to show you that it just compresses, collapses, it moves around, and the rubber itself, as you see, it's separated on the edges. Expected, you know, on the truck with this I got some miles on it. I got 160, 170,000 miles somewhere there, as well as there's a lot of torque on that truck. And this rubber piece here was actually, this is like a 1/4 inch shorter than the new mount, so it compressed a lot. So anyway, so this is it. It's gonna go in the trash. The manifold is ready. Here is the gasket part number in case you need it, because you're gonna need two of them. They are interchangeable left and right. So here's the gasket part number. As far as going back in, so what I do is my personal practice experience is I put copper anti-seize on both sides of those the heat spacers. This is 3 of the bolts for the manifolds, for the PPE manifolds, for the lower rearward bolts. The studs are back in, all the nuts are here. I did not do anything to the nuts. I'm gonna put a little copper onto the nuts, onto the studs in the block right there, the studs. And here are the bolts for the up pipes, also aftermarket. So I'm gonna double check, but I think the torque spec for this is 18 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna break out the torque range, and here, okay, also here is the copper anti-seize that I use. And we are getting ready to go back in. So what I'm gonna do is, let me get a flashlight here so everybody can see. Okay. All right, let's see. Which way does it go? I think it goes on this way, but we are about to find out. Of course. Let's see. Yes, this is the way that it goes on. Okay, so yeah, there's provisions for those. I would call them glow plugs, but let's call them spark plugs just for the sake of it. So yeah, the spark plugs. So yeah, so anyway, this is the way the new gasket goes on. You got the gasket part number. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna get this tight just a little bit. You literally got to, once it stops rotating, you do it like 1/8 of a turn. That's it. It doesn't need much at all for the studs. So I'm gonna triple check the stud tightness. I'm gonna go ahead with the manifold. Just a small heads up, which kind of common sense thing. So what I'm using, and as I mentioned before, I have PP manifolds with 3 custom, Allen bolts. So I'm actually using T40 for those Allen bolts, and it fits excellent with this adapter for a 1/4 inch. This is perfect. Literally just gives you perfect length to tighten those in. So now on the regular stock manifolds, you're gonna use 13mm, which I'm using a short socket, and not short socket, deep socket, 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch range. And what I do is I get all the bolts initially tight, just tight enough where they it's hard to turn them further, just they just by using your fingers by hand. Then I use the wrench and get them tight, like 3-finger tight, like a valve cover bolt tight. And after that I go another circle by 1/4 inch turn, quarter, and make sure everything is tightened equally. And then we're gonna jump in with the torque wrench. So yeah, I'm on the last pass with this deal. It's gonna be hard to feel the torque obviously through the screen, but okay, so it's getting pretty tight. Again, it's already tight. I don't want to overdo it. Yeah, it's already tight. So yeah, so I'm gonna check those Allens. Again, Allens only on PP manifolds. Stock manifolds gonna have 13s all around. So I'm gonna get those Allens checked, and I'm gonna torque the bolts, and I should be done with the manifold to the head. All right, so the torque spec for the factory bolts is 18 foot-pounds. So I got a very limited travel. I think it clicked. Yeah, okay, that's it. So, and you're gonna do in a crisscross pattern, like top, 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 top. So gonna go ahead and tighten this up. But you got the idea. You can get the torque wrench on this end, you can get torque wrench everywhere. The driver's side is gonna be an issue in a couple of bolts, but here you can get torque wrench pretty much everywhere. Okay, so I got the manifold completely tightened up and cross-checked everything. So the manifold is good to go. You don't wanna mess up on this because it can cause all kind of issues. Sorry, I'm tired and it's hot. So everything's tightened. Both surfaces were cleaned, the head and the manifold. It should seal well, I think. If you want to, you can double check those bolts in about a week or so, but I think it should be fine. I'm pretty confident it's good. So now it's time to bolt up the up pipe. Everything else is going to be easy. The up pipe is going to take a couple of minutes. This is the way the gasket goes in. So you see, it goes in right there. So I'm going to drop in the gasket, and hopefully should be no problem at this point. Everything should bolt right up. Let me get the gasket in and get a couple bolts started, and I will update you next. Okay, so something that will speed you up is if you clean the threads in the manifold and put some anti-seize in the threads on the manifold side, it will make your life about 8 times easier on the assembly, because you can do everything by hand. Because the rearward bolt, the bolt right there, you can only access it in my case, and as you see, I'm missing a few parts. I don't know about the stock truck, but you can only access it by this open end 1/2-inch wrench like this. That's about, and you only get like less than a 1/4 turn. So if you can get everything in there, and the threads are clean, you can actually get it all the way tight by hand like I did. Also, the torque spec is 24 foot-pounds on these. 24 or 28, I'll have to check. I'll mention it later. But there is no way to install a torque wrench where I'm at right now. So what I do is I'm gonna get it very tight, and then I'm gonna tighten these two to torque, these 2 bolts, and it will compress the gasket properly and will be no leaks. But yeah, get the rearward bolt very tight first on the up pipe. From my experience, it's the best practice. Yeah, you see, I only get little turn. I'm gonna be here a few minutes, but yeah. So this is about all I get. So yeah, so everything else is gonna be easy. I'm probably gonna not gonna, you know, make a video on the other steps. It's gonna be super straightforward. Heat shields, start with the rearward heat shield and two-piece heat shield here. And again, don't forget to connect your EGT sensor. Brake clean everything, make sure you know there's no damage to the surfaces. Just clean everything, make sure you don't tear up the wires with the brake cleaner. What else? And that's it really. I mean, just a splash shield and you'll be good to go with this. It is a bigger job. If you don't have patience, mechanical skills, and common sense and time, I suggest maybe not doing it or taking it to the shop, whichever. But like I said, I got quoted $2 grand at the shop, which at this point kind of makes sense, kind of does. So anyway, good luck. Hope this helps somebody. You do have to remove the exhaust manifold, at least on the passenger side. I'm sure the driver's side the same way, but we'll get to the driver's side eventually sometime later. This is gonna be it. I gotta go to work, gotta make some money to pay for more car parts.